Hey everybody, Andrew here from Pacific Coast Auto, taking a look at the results of last week's auction picks. Up first we got the Nissan 180 SX. You know, the one that had the cool paint job with the woman who really likes sports drink. That one actually did sell, but it went for a bit under Derek's guess. It sold for $1,310. I really want to know what the new owner is going to do with this thing. Actually, I hope he keeps it just the way it is. The Honda S660 also sold, and this one went for quite a bit over Derek's guess. It sold for $28,950. The Subaru Impreza STI V Limited also sold. This one went for $17,760. The R31 Skyline GTSX also sold. This one went for $5,270. The 1952 Volkswagen Beetle also sold. We're on a roll this week. This one brought in $35,400, pretty close to Derek's guess. And yes, the Toyota Hiace long van also sold. This one brought in $21,100. And the Mitsuoka Ray, you guessed it, also sold. This one went for just $800. And Derek was pretty close on the Cappuccino. This one also sold. It went for $2,060. The Chrysler Epsilon brings us to the end of our winning streak this week. This one went unsold and was only bid up to $35.50. The Lancer Evo 6 Tommy Mackinnon edition did not sell either. This one only got bid up to $8,180, and that wasn't enough for the seller to let it go. Finally, the Lancer Evo 3 also went unsold. It was bid up well over Derek's guess, all the way to $35.10, but that wasn't enough to make the sale. And that's going to do it for last week's picks. Now here's Derek with this week's.
Hey guys, it is Derek here, and we're going to do this week's picks without sweater rubs. I don't know if you guys watched last week's picks, but there was a sweater noise because it's cold here in Japan and I'm wearing sweaters now. And so we're doing a version of the picks here with no sweater noise. And so see how you guys like that. We're going to show you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of your guys' picks from Facebook of this week's auction. These are actual cars that are going through auction either tomorrow or the next day here in Japan, and we'll see how we do at guessing the prices of them and checking out the condition of them. And so first one here was sent in by Thomas Wells, and he says pick number 2, a pre-VTEC Frog. I think he's just talking about the Kermit the Frog color of it. This is kind of a weird car. A lot of people don't know about it. It's called the Honda Z. And in Japan, we pronounce Z like Z instead of Z like the Americans do. And so this is one of Honda's first cars. It, I think, was in production before like the N360, which was Honda's first car in the US. Don't think these ever made it to the States. They might have, though. Back in that era, you could import cars still. It was before the 25-year rule, and so you could get one of these in the States back then. I don't know how many people would have, because it's kind of a, you know, different car, especially this is a 1973, and small cars were not a big thing back then like they are now. Quirky cars probably not as popular then as they are now, but it certainly is a cool car. It almost looks like somebody just like cut off the back end and then just put it into a compressor and just pushed that back as far forward as it can go. Look at this. This has to be one of the cars with the shortest distance between the end of the door and then the back of the car. And it's funny, it's only a 2-door coupe, but it looks like it's missing part of the car. So I don't know an awful lot about these. It looks like it's running on 10 or 12-inch wheels. Pretty unique styling. It's Honda when they were making pretty good cars, not before the really good cars though. And let's have a look at what we have here. So it's a ZGT. I believe the GT was a more powerful iteration of it, but with a 360cc engine, how much more powerful can it be? I'm not sure. It's an auction grade R with an interior A and an exterior D. That may be the first time that I've ever seen that. Interior is perfect and exterior is terrible. Kind of weird. Okay, 27,013 kilometers, although it says here it's a 5-digit odometer, and so that could be 127 or 227, but with a 360cc engine, these types of cars don't run very high mileage. I'm going to guess it's like 80% chance it's 127,013 kilometers on there, which is pretty good for a 1972, I'd say. And so it has no AC, it's a manual 4-speed, and has been color changed to this color of green. Aftermarket 10-inch wheels on it. And what is this? Dunlop 145 SR10 is the size of the tires. Timing belt has been changed in 2016 December, and so it's good to know that not even a year ago some maintenance was put into it. People usually don't change the timing belt on a car unless they're planning on taking care of it and giving it hugs all of the time. And what a perfect car to give hugs to. Look at these fender mirrors. Wow, crazy. Okay, so it says it's a fender mirror car, carbureted car, of course. Aftermarket suspension and shocks. I wonder how easy it is to find aftermarket suspension and shocks for a car like this. I wonder if they have to be custom made. Okay, and as far as damages go, there's front inner panel has repair marks, various corrosion and corrosion repairs. Core support is dented, underside surface rust, various wheels. Aftermarket aluminum wheels. Dashboard repair marks to it. Interior and interior liners have been relined. Floor has a corrosion hole in it. Fender mirrors have rust on them. A rear hatch is scratched and various weather stripping cracks. And so, condition for the age and for the type of vehicle, I would say is probably pretty good. You're not going to get a 1972 economy car without corrosion at some point. And corrosion repairs are, they're not like real car. A corrosion repair is only ever done for 5 or 10 years of extended life for the car. And so, likely this vehicle has had that, and then it corroded a little bit more after that. I would say that an interior A seems to be a little bit strong, even with the relined and restored interior, especially with repairs to the dashboard like that. I think that would certainly merit a grade B. And then the exterior doesn't look like it has much problems other than the repaint. So W2 is wavy paint, and that's probably why they gave it a D grade exterior. That it might even be a little bit harsh, to be honest. And as far as price for this one, yeah, I'm not going to be right about this, but I'm going to go with 650,000 yen, and hopefully I'll get pretty close on that one. So go on to the next one here, sent in by two people in the Facebooks. It's Bill Courtney and Brandon Decker, and it's a Stagea. And let's just put this over here, show you guys the back, and show you guys the multitude of sunroofs on the top, or sunroofs. I don't know how to pronounce that. Okay, so it says, I don't know who wrote this. I think it was Bill Courtney. He says, it's red, it's got 2 sunroofs, it's a Nissan wagon, and it's got a stick shift. How can you pass this up? Not only that, it has an RB25 engine. So it's a Skyline engine with turbocharger, 4-wheel drive, 5-speed manual. It's basically a Skyline wagon. So this is the 25T RS4 S package. I don't know what the S package is, but the 25T RS4 would be the 4-wheel drive with the turbocharged engine. Pretty cool car. They're not super fast because they're heavier than Skylines are, and they feel different from Skylines because of slightly different suspension and steering and brakes and all of that. It's a 1998. This one has 89,377 kilometers with the 5-speed. Most of them are automatics. 5-speeds are pretty hard to find, and the price is going to be about 2 to 3 times more when it's a 5-speed than when it's an automatic. Auction grade 3 with an interior seat, exterior seat. Purchased from user, 5-speed manual, dual sunroof, and authentic kilometers in the 80,000s. Looks like the condition's pretty good with a little bit of corrosion on the underside and a repaint. Color change? Yeah, color change to red, and so that's not the original color of red. And that's something to worry about. Color change cars, I typically stay away from them because I don't think that they're done very well. Look at this, you can see peeling already at the top here. And yeah, peeling paint, and corrosion on the back. Kind of weird for, color changed cars. Typically the paint's not going to last you that long, but if it's already peeling, that means it's time for a repaint. And the problem with a color changed car is oftentimes they don't tell us the paint code of what color paint is on there. And so repairs, you kind of have to color match, and that's not going to be perfect. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, so that's going to lower the price considerably, I would say. And, if you want a project car, you want to go ahead and paint it. You want to make it crazy, put body kits on it, put a Skyline front end. This might be a good car to start with. The kilometers are low, and the only problem really is the outside. And so I would say, as far as prices go, 300,000 yen is going to be able to grab this one. So thank you for sending that one in, you guys. And next one, Riley Downey. Riley sent in 2 cars, and I had to pick between the 2. One of them was a Mitsubishi Debonair, I think. Really cool car. And this one here was the one that I ended up going with because it's one that most people have never heard about. So this is a 2001 Toyota Origin. And the Toyota origin is really weird because, as far as I can remember, this is built on the Toyota Hilux frame. I could be wrong about that. But it's a limited edition Toyota car. It's retro styled and has a lot of expensive parts on it. So if you take a look, it's not like most concept cars that make it to production. Everything looks like it's well done. Look at this curved back glass. Is not one of any matching Toyota otherwise. The doors are completely bespoke. All the fenders, all the metal, the roof, the pillars, everything seems to be unique to this car. And that makes it expensive for a low production car. These, I believe, were somewhere in the range of about 8 million yen when they came for sale. And then not a lot of people bought them. I think it was maybe 200 to 500 or so units made. Something like that. I don't know. You can look it up if you really want to know. But wow, look at this. 268,998 kilometers is really high. My gosh. Okay, so I believe it's a rear-wheel drive setup on this one. It has a 3-liter gasoline engine. So what engine would that be? Could be a 2J, a non-turbo 2J. The seller doesn't say, and I don't know. Let's see if we can run this VIN number here. 2JZGE engine, so non-turbo version of the 2J. That would be between 250 to 230-ish horsepower, somewhere in there. Purchased from user, first time at auction. Front heated seats and leather seats with memory function. What is this? Original wood combination shift knob. Original wheels. Tool collection box. Lots of junk on here. Right front pillar, bottom or lower section is dented. Steering wheel wear and cracked because it's a wood steering wheel. Headlights, I think it says headlights are cloudy, but I can't read this character here. Underside surface rust. General condition seems to be pretty good for a car that has this high of mileage. And the interior doesn't look that special. This piece here looks incredibly ugly. And it looks like a Toyota Crown inside. I could be wrong about that. This car could be based on the Toyota Crown architecture. But I don't know. I seem to have it somewhere in my mind that it was based on a Hilux. But that's probably 8-year-old information now. And so my mind is deteriorating as I'm getting older. But definitely an interesting vehicle. If you have one of these and people see it says Toyota on there and they're like, wow, that's a Toyota I've never seen, you're going to get that a lot. And because of that, people are going to spend more money on a car like this. They used to be really cheap. You used to be able to get something like this for 200,000-ish yen in good condition, but these days I think that price has gone up because a car that's 15 years old and a limited production car, the value is going to increase, especially when it looks so different from everything else out there. And so with a high mileage, I can't see this selling for a very high price. I would say you're probably looking for this one around 250,000 yen. Okay. On to the next one, sent in by Brandon Decker. Let's see what we got here. It's a 660, S660, which is kind of the new version of the Honda Beat, but they called it the S660, and I'm crossing my fingers for this. I think that they're calling it an S660 because there's the S2000, which is a heritage name because there was an old like S600, S800, S2000, and now they're making this an S660. I'm kind of crossing my fingers that there's going to be a new S2000 coming out. This is an incredible car and very well received here in Japan. You see them on the road all over the place. They look really awesome, and these days there aren't too many sports K cars out there. I don't know what it is. The 80s and 90s had a ton of sports K cars, and then they all just kind of went away. And so good to see Honda actually dipping their fingers into this genre, especially since this is a car that they can only really expect to sell here in Japan and not really other countries. They might sell them in other countries, I don't know, but with a 660cc engine, very tight interior, it's not the type of car that's very popular outside of Japan. Here in Japan, you get really cheap insurance, and you don't have to have a parking spot for it, which is really important. So, cool interior, I think. I have driven one of these on the Let's Drive Japan channel. There's a link to that in our description, I believe. And what do we have here? It's a 2015 660 6-speed manual, and it's a turbocharged 660cc. Auction grade 4.5, interior and exterior A-, 31,883 kilometers. And kind of boring notes here, just all the features that the car comes with. Not really anything interesting in there. And then look at this, no marks at all in the report section. Or here, only some repainted sections here. So kind of weird that a car this new would have repainted sections, but it hasn't been in an accident. Probably it got a dent or scratches or something that the owner didn't want on his almost brand new car. And looks like pretty high mileage for the year too. Okay, this will be probably one of the cheaper ones that you can get because the mileage is pretty high. I'm going to pick a price of this one at 1.2 million. Starting price is 1 million, so we'll see how that one does. Pretty cool car. I would love to have one, and cheap on gas, super fun to drive, cheap insurance, and open top too. So, all right, on to the next one. This one's sent in by our ultra best friend Rory Johnston. Rory, I hope you're watching this. I'm winking at you through the computer right now. You probably can't see it, but at least you can hear it. And so this is a car that we see at auctions sometimes, but they're getting pretty rare around the world. It's a Nissan Bluebird, also known as the 510 in Canada and America. But this one has had an engine transplant. So the Bluebird comes with a 2-liter engine usually, but this one has a 2.8-liter changed up to 3.1 liter. And so that's a Fairlady's 280ZX engine, the inline 6-cylinder, that has been changed up to 3.1 liter. Actually, that engine was also in the Cedric and the Gloria as well here in Japan. And Rory says, double the stock power with the L28 made into an L31 should make for some more fun. And then he says, what is the T rating though? So this is a grade T, and I'll get into that in a second. Okay, so original, oh, I'm sorry, I knew this. I feel like such an idiot. Yes, they are 1600cc, not 2000cc. It's part of the name. It's like 1600 SSS. Time for me to shave my head. Like what like if you get in trouble with the Yakuza in Japan, you have to shave your head to show that you're sorry. So I'm gonna go do that. I need a haircut anyway. Okay, so Bluebird, iconic styling, rear-wheel drive, super light chassis. They're kind of everything that's good about the AE86, even before the 86 came out. I guess comparable to the older version of the 86, the Sprinter Tourneau or Corolla 11, the old generation of them. I really like 70s cars from Japan, especially lightweight rear-wheel drive ones, and then with a big boat engine like that in it. I'd be curious to know what the handling would be like, but certainly it's going to be fast and it's going to sound awesome. And so this would be a really good car to have. It looks like it's in really unique condition. It has some of my favorite wheels on it. I think the wheels look good, but these wheels I think are too modern for the style of the car for my tastes. And so if this were a car that I bought, I would change the wheels up, and then I would put these wheels onto something else that it would feel better in my opinion. But I do really love these wheels. 510 license plate, that's cool. Fender mirrors, looks like it's been fully restored, just judging by the pictures, and it has had a lot of work done to it. The engine, twin plate clutch, Solex triple carbs, 5-speed manual, R200 modified diff with LSD in it. What is this one? Exhaust header on it. Fujitsubo is the brand. Center exit rear exhaust. No, center something rear exhaust. I can't read this one. Stainless one-off exhaust. Lots and lots of stuff here. I'm going to see if I can pick out anything interesting. Aftermarket brakes, that's pretty cool. Roll cage installed into it. Over fenders were put on with body filler to blend in. Kind of a, I don't know, I'd rather bolt-on style, but it still looks cool. Aluminum radiator, oil cooler. Odometer doesn't work. Mileage is unknown car. So, okay, so here's the thing. This is a vehicle T grade, and this seems to be a new thing with the JAA auction house. Up until this month, I've never noticed it at that auction house, and so we called to find out what the heck they're talking about, and they said that it's a no-claim section, and there's no inspection on the vehicle. And so typically we would advise all of our customers don't bid on these cars. Now it's in the nostalgic car corner, which is different from the no grade corner. And nostalgic car is a special corner at the auction house that is made for specialty cars, like super modified cars, super old cars, classic cars, generally good condition and running condition vehicles, but they don't get an inspection. And I have to guess the reason why they don't do an inspection on them is because they don't want the liability of saying that a vehicle is in a certain condition when there are so many different things that could be wrong on a modified or a classic car. And so maybe they had their butts bit in the back by people buying cars that they said were in good condition, and then they turned out to be not so good, because classic cars take a long time to look over. When we buy a car like this, it'll typically take me almost twice as long to do the report as a regular car, and it's a lot more stressful for me too, because I don't want to miss out on anything. And so I think with a car like this, it's best to go see it in person. If you're buying through us, we can bid on it for you, but I mean, this car is in, well, it's at JAA. It's basically in the Tokyo area, but they have similar things at Zip Osaka, and so we don't go to see the vehicles in person. If you want to be risky, then you can go ahead and bid on it, but for 90% of our customers, I would recommend not to bid on something like this. Ooh, pictures of the engine bay. Come on. That loading is loading too slowly. No air filters. That's kind of weird. Looks okay. Looks like it might have had some strengthening to the chassis here. Definitely interesting car. So as far as prices go, Bluebirds, they seem like they're more expensive here in Japan than in other countries, but some of the best ones are here in Japan as well. So starting price 510. When we sell cars, I typically do that too. I'll make the starting price match the car in some way. I'm going to go with 1 point. Without an inspection, it's ultra difficult, but I'm going to go 1.4 on this one and see how that goes. Thank you, Rory, for sending that one in. Next one, Elijah McDonald sent in this one. I don't even know what this is. It's like a Toyota Will something. Let's see. Toyota Will Cypha 1.3. Looks like it is a Toyota Passo, which is one size smaller than the Vitz or Echo or Yaris, and just with a funky face on it and different fenders, even different doors and stuff. But it looks like the same size and same engine size as the Passo, a sub compact but not quite K car. This is a 2003 auction grade 3.5, interior B, exterior C. I've seen them on the road sometimes. They come in some weird colors. I've seen them like orange and green and purple. I don't think I've seen any normal colors like this white one. 98,190 kilometers. And I think this car's in Gran Turismo 2 maybe? Or 3? I seem to remember it being in one of the Gran Turismo games. Undersized surface rust and various corrosion. Otherwise the condition looks okay. A4 scratch on the roof. Weird. Double cover. Double cover door mirror scratched. I don't know what that means. And these headlights are really weird. So 2 projector headlights, and then these ones would be the signals. Very strange. Looks like somebody's art project turned into a car. Ooh, it comes with winter tires. Okay. I'm bored of this car now. So, price? I think that the styling is really dated on this one. And I think that if someone were to buy this, they would think, like, there would be a really small market for it. If you were like a dealer and you bought this, I think it would be hard to find a buyer for it in Japan. 120,000 yen on that one. Okay, got 2 more here to go. We got Jake Mello, and he says, a lot of sunroof for a little van. This one here is a Subaru Sambar Diaz. I've driven one of these. They're really weird to drive because it's a full glass roof with 2 different sections. So the one in the back opens up completely, and the one in the front tilts up and has a really weird feeling to it. Already, because these vehicles have a lot of glass around you, you feel like you're driving around in a fishbowl. really cool. You sit right on top of the front axle, so it feels weird to drive around. It's your basic K-truck with extra features on it. And I think it would be great to import into the US. They're legal for there now. And you can get them with a 5-speed manual and with AC. I don't know what's going on with the computer. It seems to be extra slow today. So 1992 Sambar DS van, 4-wheel drive, 5-speed manual AC, 129, 812 kilometers, auction grade 3, interior C, exterior C. Let's see, underside has S2, rear floor C2, and lid corrosion hole. I wonder, oh, yeah, so the engine bay is weird to get to. You can fold down this rear bumper to get to the one part of the engine bay, but in the bed they have like a plate metal screwed in that you can use to access the top of the engine. And so that's probably what they talk about with the lid has a corrosion hole in it. Right front pillar is dented. These are things that would turn me off on the car. This rust on the body diagram, peeling paint. I would say no to this one. And the thing is with these, not a lot of people in the US know about them, but when people who regularly import into the US, when they see something like this, it sparks their interest and they suddenly want to get it. And so I've seen them sell for as low as 50,000 yen, and I've seen one in a similar condition sell for 400,000 yen. And it really depends on the buyer and how many are out there and how many really, really want to get this, because they don't come out that often, and especially with the 5-speed and the AC. And so if you want to get it, you might have to pay through the teeth. This one's in pretty poor condition, so I'm going to guess not many people are going to jump on it. And I'm going to guess 80,000 yen on this one here. Okay, thank you, Jake. And last one, Krishna Siva has sent in this for us. He says, kind of a weird situation. Andrew explained to me what it was that's wrong with this one. And so we have a Nissan Fairlady Z Nismo version. This one here is an R grade, meaning it has been in an accident. And it's unfortunate because the car only has 3,277 kilometers on it, and it's a 2016. So somebody bought the car, didn't really know what they were doing with cars, and went and crashed it. And it makes me think that this person probably should have got the non-Nismo edition, because probably that's a little bit too much cool, too much power for the car. And yeah, that is a problem. You drive a cool car around, and suddenly you feel like you're a superhero because of how well the car performs, and then if your skills aren't there, then you're going to go crash it and have a boo-boo in the hood and the front fender. It looks like it wasn't a serious crash. Left front fender is dented, core support's been replaced. Headlight inner, the headlights insides have been blackened. I don't know if that's part of the Nismo, but they said that on the report. Underside surface rust, and I don't know what the Nismo edition of this comes with. I think it's slightly more powerful than the original one. I really didn't pay attention because, to be honest, I'm not a big fan of the 370Z. I went to, I always loved the way that the car looked, and I still do. But when I drove it, I thought the looks on it were an 8 out of 10. At that time, I think it hasn't aged that well. It's been around for long enough that the interest has gone away. But when it came out, I thought it was an 8 out of 10, and I thought it drove like a 4 out of 10. And it really made me sad because it was the first time that I've driven a car that I considered to be quite fast that wasn't fun to drive. It's like, I don't know. I'm thinking about examples in my head of something that is like, but none of them are appropriate, I think, for the videos, and so we're going to stop there. But 3.7 liter, puts out plenty of horsepower, but just not fun to drive for me. And so, I don't know what the Nismo editions are worth. I don't know what the low mileage ones are worth. I don't know anything about this one. So we got a starting price of 3.3 million. I'll guess 3.8 for this one. Don't know. But it is kind of unfortunate that it has been crashed with only 3,000 kilometers. So, sorry about that. And that'll be it. That's the end of the video here. So if you made it to the end, ooh, we're just over 30 minutes now. Very cool. Okay, so we're going to see you again next Wednesday in Japan, which I guess would be next Tuesday, your guys' time, depending on where you are in the world. But see you again next week. Have a good week, and buy cars from auction. It's the best place to buy them from.